We're back here on WHIP Radio in Philadelphia, and we're now joined by a Philadelphia Eagles outside linebacker Connor Barwin, number 98. Connor, Zach Gelb here. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We appreciate a few minutes, and I saw Jeff McClain actually put out a little bit today that you're now taking classes as Temple as a Spanish 101 student. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah, I'm trying to finish my degree. I'm a history major. I have 3 foreign language credits to take in a history 500 level class, so I'm going to start knocking away at it this off season. Maybe graduate next year.
Well, this is actually the official student station of Temple University on
wow.
iHeartRadio and TuneIn. So that's a nice coincidence that we actually just saw on Twitter right before you came on over here. So I welcome you to Temple as a fellow student, to say the least.
Go Owls! Except for last Sunday when my real roots at Cincinnati had to beat Temple in basketball.
Did you go to the game?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay, because Temple made a nice little comeback and then they fell short. It's been an off year for the Owls, and it's not used to the typical tradition of Temple basketball as they lost some 5 seniors.
Recently this week, though, right?
They beat Rutgers.
Yeah, there you go. That's a big win for Temple.
It is. So Connor Barwin's here. We're going to talk about Uber in just a little bit, and you come over from the Houston Texans, now playing with the Philadelphia Eagles. What was the appeal to come to Philadelphia?
Well, there was a lot. I mean, I think Chip Kelly was interesting. I think that I knew coming into the team that it would be a competitive team. I knew Jason Kelsey, Brent Selleck, Trent Cole, all these guys from Cincinnati that I played with in college. So in being on the East Coast, I have family in New York. I grew up in Detroit. So there's all kinds of things that were factored into it, but I'm very happy to be here, and it was a good first year.
When you look back at your first year here, the fans, that's always something that's talked about here in Philadelphia. Sometimes they love the players, sometimes they hate the players, but they're a very passionate group that just wants to see some wins. How do you describe the fan base to people?
It's exactly what I'd heard. They were great fans, and they were completely supportive the whole year. It was fantastic, and again, I'm looking forward to the future. The fans are the best here.
When you look back at this year, after that Denver game, you really start to see your defensive unit turning around. What were some strengths and weaknesses of your defense this year? What's one thing you really liked, and what's one thing you want to see improve?
Well, this is not a cliche answer, but every team needs to improve in everything. I don't think there's one area that we were really bad at. I think we need to improve across the board. But I think what you can be happy about, or what I was happy about during the season, was we did improve every single week. I mean, we took a couple games where we made some mistakes, but as the season went on, you saw us playing better every week, and that's all you can ask for. And as a competitor and as a player, that's all you want. Now,
playing under Billy Davis, what did you learn playing under Billy Davis this year?
I learned how much stuff you can do with the defense and move guys around and be successful. I mean, he's got a brilliant football mind, very smart guy. He took all these coaches from all over, all these players from all over, and kind of meshed us all together and made us work, and really kind of turned us into a pretty good defense by the end of the year.
Looking back at that Denver game, after watching the film and after they put up 50-plus points on the defense, if you could go back and do that game and you had to play Peyton Manning maybe this week, something like Seattle is doing on Sunday at the Super Bowl, as we're live at Radio Row talking to Connor Barwin of the Philadelphia Eagles, how would you go back? What kind of schemes would you throw at them differently this time from opposed to earlier off in the year?
Well, I think we're a better defense at the end of the year than we were there. That was early. It was still it was a whole new coaching staff, so we're still putting in defenses actually at that point. Our defense has developed a lot since then. We kind of grew it as the season went on. So I mean, I imagine we'll. I don't know what our schedule is next year, but if we play Peyton, he'll see a different defense that he did see that week 5 or whatever it was.
What's the toughest part about going up against Peyton Manning?
Well, he gets the ball. He knows what you're doing on defense. He can figure it out pretty quickly. And he doesn't miss opportunities, you know what I'm saying? If you're playing a certain coverage and the ball is supposed to go somewhere, he puts it there, you know what I mean? And he doesn't overthrow guys. So I think the biggest thing is you have to be almost perfect all the time, or he's going to take advantage of it.
He has an abundance of weapons, both Thomases, also Wes Welker and Eric Decker. The Seattle defense, they're a very talkative bunch led by Richard Sherman, and they back it up on the field, and they're the best defense in the league. I would expect a lot of press coverage from these Seattle Seahawks defensive backs going up against the Broncos.
That's very smart of you. You're right. You will see. I mean, Peyton, there's a timing to his offense, so it's pretty calculated. He makes his reads. He knows where guys are supposed to be. So I'm sure Seattle is going to try to, interrupt that timing or that rhythm and make Peyton have to, kind of pump the ball or hold the ball longer than he wants to. And that'll be an advantage to Seattle if they can do that.
We're starting to see a different breed of tight ends, and it starts with Rob Gronkowski, Jimmy Graham, and their tight end Thomas is an exceptional player, a freak of nature at a normal amount of height and a lot of quick speed. How tough is that as a outside linebacker going up against a tight end like that when you get put on that matchup?
Well, for me, I don't really have a lot of problem with it. I think I do all right against those type of guys because they're close to my size. But what happens is you get those guys up against safeties, and they just kind of box them out a little bit or really use their bodies against them, and it does make it hard for the safeties.
We're talking to Connor Barwin of the Philadelphia Eagles. And Connor, you look back at this season, it was one that was very impressive, especially that Dallas Cowboys game. What did you take out of that Cowboys game?
Obviously the last game of the year. Well, it was just, we answered the call. I mean, all year we had been put in bad situations, and I think we were a very mentally tough team. And there was times when it looked like it wasn't going our way, but we stuck with it. Again, I said we're a mentally tough team. And then we made the plays when we needed to because I think we all believed in ourselves, believed in the team. And obviously in that Dallas game, Boykin stepped up and made the play of the game to steal the win.
Especially Michael Kendricks. He had a big pick in that game as well.
Oh, yeah.
Looking back at what he did this year, how would you recap his season?
Yeah, I wasn't around here his rookie year, but obviously he played great for us all year long. I mean, he's a special athlete. Talk about a freak of an athlete. That's a freak of an athlete. The guy can run like a 4.4, and he gets in there and sticks his face in there and runs. So, I'm excited to play with him for the next 4 or 5 years.
Going back to the game on Sunday, pass interference, I think that's going to be – it's one of the most inconsistent rules in the NFL. Sometimes the refs let them really go at you, and other times if you touch them, it's right away an automatic flag, and especially the physical style of defense Seattle likes to play, that can be a big key in this game. Do you think pass interference that is all inconsistent the way the officials call it?
Yeah, it can be inconsistent, but put yourself in their shoes. It's a very hard call to make, you know what I mean? But I think they let them play a little bit more in the playoffs, which is I think the way it should be.
Going up against Russell Wilson, what the Denver defense is going to have to do on Sunday. He's a mobile quarterback, and we're seeing two breeds of quarterback in the NFL now. It's your traditional pocket passing quarterback, what you saw in the AFC Championship game, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. And then on the other side, you have more mobile quarterbacks in Colin Kaepernick and Russell Wilson, who still are very lethal when it comes throwing the ball through the air. When you go up against a mobile quarterback, how difficult is that for a defender compared to when you go up against a pocket passing quarterback?
Well, they're both very difficult. They're just different. I mean, you just have to be what we're worried about is when we get a guy like Peyton Manning that can run like Colin Kaepernick, then you're in real serious trouble. You know what I mean? But when these mobile quarterbacks is just another threat because they can always pull it and run. But these pocket passers that are really the elite ones, I mean they're you've seen they're just as hard to stop because they get the ball wherever it's supposed to go on time.
You made some playoff runs in Houston. One ended in New England, and this year you guys went up against the Saints at home. Looking back at that game, every loss is tough in the playoffs, but that has to be extra tough, especially since you guys were in your home of the Lincoln Financial Field.
Yeah, that one was really tough. I think we should have got out of there with the win and went to Carolina, and I thought we had a good chance against Carolina if we would have got there, but. Yeah, I thought it was a great game plan. We were in it. All we had to do, I mean, looking back on it, to me, there's just that 2nd and 10. We stop them. We make Shane Graham kick a 40-plus yarder. I mean, I'll take that every time when you're winning by one with Shane Graham's foot over 40 yards. But we gave up that run. They got a first down. They got a little bit more yards, and we gave him an easy field goal and lost the game.
How long does it take to get over that loss? Do you ever get over a playoff loss?
Yeah, I mean you gotta be an adult about it.
You gotta move on eventually.
Yeah, you gotta move on. I mean, we'll look back on it and you still remember it, but you have to move on. You learn from it, you grow from it. But I mean, you felt pretty bad for me maybe a week or two, and then you gotta move on.
We're talking to Connor Barwin. And Connor, you came over from the Houston Texans, and that was one of the biggest surprises to me this year in the NFL. And what did you notice go different this year with Houston?
Well, I think it was just a snowball of some adversity early on, and then they couldn't get out of it. I mean, there's guys got hurt. The Ed Reed didn't work out. You could say Matt Schaub might have lost his confidence, and then it just snowballed, and they couldn't recover.
They bring in Bill O'Brien from Penn State, and he's a very interesting coach. Had a lot of success with the New England Patriots with that high-octane offense. And how do you like the Bill O'Brien hire at down in Houston?
I think the Kubiak hire in Baltimore is a great hire.
Yeah.
I love Kubiak, and I love playing for Wade Phillips. And I don't really know anything about Bill O'Brien, but everything I keep reading about is that it's fantastic. I think people in Houston that I talk to are all excited about it. So. Houston's in the AFC, so I wish them all the best, and maybe we'll see them in the Super Bowl if they can get things turned around.
Obviously, Houston was a big part of your career, and it's a business here in the NFL. You would like to play one place for your entire career, but you now come to Philadelphia. But how tough was it to leave Houston, especially the good relationship you had with J.J. Watt?
Yeah, I mean, I had a good relationship with everybody on that team, and I had even in the community, I was close to a lot of people, the coaches. But that's the reality of it. I mean, I was happy that I liked being in I liked the NFL, that I was forced to go to Houston coming out of college. I had no choice. I mean, I had a little bit of choice in the free agency, but this was the choice that I had to make. So it wasn't really a big decision for me, and I'm happy that that's the way it is. So I don't second guess anything. And I had a great 4 years there, met a lot of great people, and it was a great first year. And I look forward to the future here in Philly.
Looking back at your years at Houston, what did you learn specifically from Wade Phillips and also J.J. Watt, who's one of the best defenders in all football?
Well, I think with J.J., I mean, he just kind of, you already know what he knows, but he just reassures, or, a guy that puts in, all the work, it pays off. I mean, the guy's whole life is football, everything about it, and that's why you see him get those results. He works as hard as anybody I've ever played with in any sport, and the guy deserves the kind of everything that he gets because he puts in the work. And I have, a ton of respect for him. And then with Wade, it was just such a pleasure for me to play for him. I mean, such a smart football guy, great guy to be around. Like me, I really appreciate, the guys in the locker room. And Wade Phillips is the same way, man. He just loves being around the guys and, the locker room and that kind of stuff. And then from a football standpoint, the guy's coached some of the best pass rushers in the history of the league. And to just get that knowledge from him, which is the way I still pass rush from what he taught me for those 2 years, was huge for my career.
A few more questions as we're talking to the Eagles defender number 98, Connor Barwin, here, Radio Row, iHeartRadio, and tune in as well. Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP.
Yeah, Temple.
A little Temple love for the new Spanish-speaking student. And let's get to Nick Foles. He comes in, and what kind of leader is Nick Foles in the locker room for you guys as he took some big steps this year?
Yeah, Nicky's the man. He came in and played unbelievable. I mean, a record-setting season. And I think my favorite part about Nick is not only is he awesome at basketball, but he just never changed. You know what I mean? From getting serious, he stayed the same. He acts like a quarterback. His emotions never get too high or too low. He's very steady. And as the season went on, he never changed. You know what I'm saying? He never got a big head. He never got down. He just stuck to himself. He was the same guy after throwing 20 touchdowns in one pick that he was, all summer.
So on the way out here, let's get to Uber. We all love cheesesteaks here in Philadelphia,
oh, yeah.
Whether it's Pat's, Geno's, Mama's, D'Alessandro's. The list goes on and on and on of great cheesesteak places in Philadelphia. Tell me how some fans can actually watch the game with you and enjoy some of those cheesesteaks on
Yeah,
Sunday.
well, I'm not going to watch the game with you, but I partnered with Uber, and you download the app and sign up at uber.com, and then Sunday morning we are going to deliver whoever's having a big party. We're going to get in an Uber, and we're going to deliver like 20 Geno's cheesesteaks to your tailgate. We'll have a cheesecake. We'll talk some Eagles football, take some pictures, talk about the game, and I'll be on my way. But then you guys can enjoy some cheesesteaks during your Super Bowl party.
Was that one of the first meals you had in Philly? Was it a nice cheesesteak, or did you go somewhere nicer like a Del Frisco's?
Yeah, no. I think when I first got here, Kelsey took me to Tony Luke's, which was good, and then after that, like a week or two, then I went and did the Geno's Pats thing.
The tourist trap.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to see what they were like, and then since then, I had one out in the suburbs that was tremendous. I don't remember where it was, and then I've had Ishkabibbles on South Street. That covers my whole cheesecake tasting.
So we appreciate a few minutes today. Thanks so much. Keep on making plays, and let's see some more Eagles victories next year, and maybe we'll even see you on campus here at Temple.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Connor Barwin of the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back right after these short messages live from Radio Row.